Welcome, I'm the Deadwood Jedi. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video, and today we are in the test server because I wanted to build another 4-3 ratio team. This time we're going to be using two 4-3 ratio champions, and I think we're going to get really good results out of this. Haven't run it yet, so again, I don't know any more than you guys do how well this team's going to perform. We're not bringing in any legendary champions. The only thing I'm letting myself do is bring in a counterattack champion in Skull Crusher, because I know a lot of you want to know, how would I use a Skull Crusher in a team like this, in a team like we used previously as well? And as always, it's going to depend on the skills that your champions are bringing. We're going to be using two 4-3 ratio champions, and because of the specific champions we're using, we're timing their skills to go at a particular time. These are things that you can easily manipulate just by looking at the calculator, adjusting the speed slightly for each one. You can determine which one's going to be going when the double turns are occurring, so you can make sure that you're doing things like I am in this comp, keeping ally protection on all of our champions for the full fight, keeping increased defense on all of our champions for the full fight, and still staying affinity friendly. These are the tricks to making this type of a thing work. So I'm going to be going over all of that with you in a little bit, including looking at the champions, their builds, and we'll show the run as well and see how we do. I would like this to be a 3-key Ultra Nightmare team, a very solid 3-key team. I'm looking to get somewhere between 25 and 30 million damage. I think that would be an excellent result out of this. There is definitely potential to do even better, depending on how the team's built, the champions you build. It's very easy to get a 2-key Ultra Nightmare team. Not very easy, but it's definitely something you can do with a team like this. So I'm interested to see how well we can do with this squad. Before I get into that, I just want to remind you guys, hit that like, hit that subscribe and notification bell so you know when my next video comes out. Soundstripe link down below if you guys are interested in the music that I play. I get it all from there. You can use my code Deadwood Jedi to save 15%. And that's all we got. So let's get in and look at the champions. So this is the team I'm going to be using here. This is actually a very, I think, well put together clan boss team. This is the type of team I would encourage you guys to be trying to build if you don't have unkillable champions and you're just trying to do a more traditional team. And as always, you can substitute champions out based on what you have available. You know, you could easily put a Rosin in this type of team. You could easily bring in a Battle Khazar into this type of team. There's lots of ways to go about building this type of a squad, and legendary champions only make that easier for you. Now, with this particular squad, we're using Grush here with his leech ability, his A3 skill to give us the healing that we're going to need throughout. And even if he can't do it by himself, we also have Steel Skull to help supplement that. Steel Skull does a great job of healing your squad. Not enough by himself, but with someone like a Grush can really help complement the team as a whole. We do have Sepulchre Sentinel in this team blocking the affinity debuffs, but we don't necessarily have to use a Sepulchre Sentinel in this team. We could probably use a Grizzled Jarl. Part of the reason, we have Steel Skull who can cleanse the stun for you, but you do have to make sure those skills are chosen specifically in the setup for the team, because he won't use that skill automatically when you need it to or on the right champions all the time. So just keep that in mind as something that you'd have to adjust with. As with any healers, you need to set their skills in the priority. We have Rearguard Sergeant and Skull Crusher. They're going to keep us alive. Steel Skull, with the ally protection, I should say, with Steel Skull and Sepulchre are going to give us that increased defense. Like I was saying, you could use a Grizzled Jarl instead of Sepulchre Sentinel, because we do have Steel Skull to cleanse the stun. You just have to make sure the stun goes to the right champion. In this case, the ally protection from Rearguard Sergeant is going to stay on Grush. That's why he's in the lead, because we want him to take the stun. Sepulchre Sentinel's a fine choice to have that happen, but without the ally protection, he wouldn't survive as long. She wouldn't survive as long. So we want to try and have that on the champion with the ally protection. Even giving up the aura, it's not that big of a thing to lose. Everybody's built pretty tanky as it is, so I'm not as concerned about that at all. So let's go ahead and show you how the champions themselves are built. All right, let's look at the champions. We'll start here with Rearguard Sergeant. I have her built exactly as I had in previous video. 174 speed, 70,000 HP, 3,500 defense, plenty of accuracy, 100% crit rate. She's going to be my decreased defense champion. That's what she's there for, as well as the ally protection. That's pretty much all I need her for. You can see offense and defensive masteries. Sepulchre Sentinel, offense and defensive masteries as well. She's going to, like, absolutely vital. She's such a great champion for this type of thing. Now, I have her at 239 speed. For this particular comp, that speed's pretty precise. There's not a lot of leeway in that. If we go to 238, she's too slow, 240 is too fast, so we really need to find that sweet spot for her as far as the speed goes, just to make sure that we get her taking her double turn between the AoEs, which is our goal, to stay affinity friendly, not just prevent the stun debuff from landing, but staying affinity friendly, which is our goal in this particular build. Now, in addition to that, we've got Skull Crusher, like I said before, and you can see everybody's install work here. Skull Crusher is going at 191 speed. This is a little bit faster than we would have before. And the result of that means that everybody taking their double turn is going to go not just first, but also last in the turn order. If we brought Skull Crusher to 171 speed, it would change the turn order just slightly, but also would mean that on those double turns, Skull Crusher would be the one going last in the turn order. And that is not what I want in this particular build, so we have him going at 191 speed. That's kind of why he's set up that way. In addition to that, we're going to bring in Grush, as I said before, as our healer. I've got Grush at 180 speed here, good crit rate damage, accuracy. He's also going to be our stun target. That's why he's such a lot of defense there. Now, you can see 45,000 HP. Honestly, I probably should lower that a little bit to help him survive the stun a little bit longer, but because he's going to have ally protection, it's not really much of a concern of mine. So I think he's going to be really well built for us. And then we also have Steel Skull here. Steel Skull at 242 speed is a great champion, going to give us a lot of poisons in addition to healing and that increased defense buff. 3,400 defense, 50,000 HP. Really don't want him taking the stun, but a really good champion. 240 accuracy should be fine. Not much of a damage dealer, so I don't bother with building crit damage on him. I really focus on survivability. Again, this one's going down the support tree here, right? We don't have Life Drinker, which is something I generally like to place on, but I wanted the healing that Skull Crusher provides, Steel Skull provides, to be really big. So that's why we went down this side here, just to help with the healing as much as possible. Yeah, and then I forgot to show Grush. These are his masteries here, offense and defense, per usual, just like Skull Crusher there. So let's go ahead and show this run, and we can see how much damage we actually do. I'm kind of excited to see this one. So obviously this one's going to take a little bit of setup to get going. Now I have kind of set up here, but we don't sync up until turn 6, much like other comps involving this type of a ratio. It's a pretty common thing. We will start with Skull Crusher's counterattack. One of the advantages of having him go 191 faster than the clan boss is we can get that going right from the jump here. Of course, we'll be affinity friendly right from the jump, but it doesn't mean we're going to be stun friendly right from the jump. So it does take a little bit of adjustment as far as that part of it goes. So we're going to get the ally protection here with rear guard, so we need to pay attention. Affinity is going to have a major impact on this. Grush should take the stun because he's in the lead, but something to kind of keep in mind as we go through. We're going to delay using the A3 from Steel Skull all the way through here, and right here now we can go ahead and use Sepulchre Sentinel. This makes us affinity friendly. We have the block debuffs up for this AoE, right? So even if there was a slow debuff from the spirit affinity, it wouldn't matter, wouldn't affect us. And there we go. And because we have counterattack, Rearguard Sergeant does a really good job of keeping decreased defense out there. The one thing this team is missing, of course, is weaken, and sometimes you just have to sacrifice a little bit of something to get something else. Now with Grush, we did turn off his A2. I really want to make sure we keep the leech up so we can heal up as much as possible. This helps us not have to use things like lifesteal gear. And there we go. Rearguard Sergeant, I have her A2 turned off so we don't get decreased attack from her. I'm thinking Sepulchre Sentinel should be sufficient to do that. And so we're going to kind of rely on that. And here we go. Now we go. The second attack took a double turn here, Steel Skull did. Second attack right before the stun. We're going to place up that increased defense. That means everybody has increased defense. It's the clan boss generally avoids 4 debuffs, right? I've always said 3, but it's really 4. It's if a champion has counterattack, increased defense, reflect damage, or block damage, the clan boss is going to avoid them if they have another alternative. Now, because nobody has counterattack up by the time the stun's around, and sometimes that increased defense buff will fall off from Sepulchre Sentinel, I'm having Steel Skull reapply it, and that's going to mean that everybody has it up, so the clan boss won't have anybody they can target instead. That's going to help force the stun to go to the champion we want, in this case, Grush. At this point, I can't click auto. I don't know why I'm still manualing. I can click auto, and you can see everything should be working. We have counterattack up right here. This is going to help ensure we keep the leech debuff up from Grush. It's going to help ensure we keep the decreased defense debuff up from Rearguard Sergeant, and help us get more poisons from Steel Skull, which is great. Now, one of the things I could do with Steel Skull is not use that A2 skill, just completely take it off but I'm going to keep it on for now. And what that's going to do is occasionally it should help us with a stun if it goes to the wrong person, or we get really low from the stun damage wise, we need to heal up. Steel Skull is going to be able to reapply, give that single target healing and help us out. It will lower our overall damage because we're not getting as many opportunities to place poison, but I think it's going to be better for us in the long run. You can see there, kind of just using it automatically. I have that in there just to make sure that we stay healthy and full. But you can see right here, we have the counterattack up. Perfect timing. We are in sync at this point. Sepulchre Sentinel is going to take a double turn here, going first, and then again going last to place that increased defense as well as the block debuffs on everybody. You can see the increased defense fell off everybody, so we're vulnerable. There it goes back up again from Sepulchre. Now we're protected. We're protected from the affinity debuffs as well. Here we go. Steel Skull is going to take a double turn. She's going to go first right there, put up more poisons, and then going to be on their second attack, place that increased defense as well as an AoE heal, which should help make sure that the stun is going to the right spot, that nobody's too low in health and is going to be vulnerable as a result. So that's going to help someone like Rearguard Sergeant survive even with the ally protection up from everybody else. So this is why this is I like this team a lot, actually. And then, of course, Rearguard Sergeant is keeping that ally protection on Grush, which is why I like him in the lead. I prefer to have Sepulchre Sentinel there, but based off of the timing of things, the ally protection will fall off Sepulchre Sentinel, so I much prefer having Grush be there with the ally protection rather than Sepulchre Sentinel's aura. I think that's just a much better exchange of skills. Because this team is so tanky with all the increased defense and the ally protection, it should last a really long time. I don't want you guys to have to sit through the entirety of the fight, so we're going to jump ahead towards the end of things, and you should be able to see the last 10, 15, 20 turns or so and get an idea of how this performs and where we can, if you were building this team, where you could improve things. There we go, 28.7 million. That's a very, very solid 3-key team. Just what we were hoping we were going to get. Now, I can easily see ways we can make this easier, right? First off, Sepulchre Sentinel was the first person to die. That's always something to keep in mind, and it came from one of the AoEs. That tells me we need more HP on her. We need to build her HP up because it's the lowest on the team, I'm pretty sure. And so building that up will help her survive a much longer time in the fight. Grush was doing a great job surviving all of those hits, right? Especially from the stun. We had plenty of healing in there from Grush's leech to his passive, or the continuous heal buffs that he places on. So we don't need the A2 skill from Steel Skull, that single target heal and cleanse. We just really didn't need it. If that's the case, then that's something I can turn off, and we can get even more poisons coming out of Steel Skull, which should up our damage even more. I honestly feel like this team is pretty close to being a 2-key team. Maybe not consistently, but right on the cusp of that. If we can survive another 3, 4, 5 turns with this squad, we should be able to put up another few million damage. Taking away Steel Skull's A2 should add another couple million damage as well, and that gets us right in that 2-key conversation. This was a fun team. I thought it was really successful, and these are good results. You can see how important Steel Skull is, even really not dealing any raw damage. 9 million damage, mostly from poisons, is definitely considerable. And there's plenty of champions that can do a better job of that than just Steel Skull, right? So as long as we have all the things we need, healing, poisons, decreased defense, decreased attack, ally protection, increased defense, there's a lot of potential to this type of a team giving us really, really good results. We didn't even have a weakened debuff on the squad. So you guys can see there's a lot of potential to this type of a team being very, very successful in Clan Boss. Making sure that you have everybody tuned right is the key. So real quick, I just want to show you guys exactly what this looks like in the calculator and how the speeds can really have a major impact on things. You can see we have right here on turn 6 is where we sync up, and we have Sepulchre Sentinel take a double turn, Steel Skull takes a double turn. We're able to keep those buffs up for the full fight. Now, the speeds are really tight. Like I was saying, if we drop Sepulchre Sentinel by 1 speed, it changes where those double turns happen. If we increase it by 1 speed, it changes where those double turns happen. And so depending on the team that you're trying to build, the champions you're using, you can really manipulate it to get the results at the spots that you want. Changing Steel Skull speed can do the same thing in reverse, right? And can really alternate where our double turns are happening. And those are all really important to consider when you're trying to build a team like this and figure out what's the optimal usage of these champions. Where's the best place to have their double turns happen so that we can stay alive the longest, keep the buffs up the longest, and get those debuffs up the most possible. So these are little things that I would definitely keep in mind if you're going to be using this type of a team. And as always, check on the website. It gives you a guidepost, right? I have these types of teams built. Find one that is close to what you want, and then you can slowly manipulate the speeds of all the different champions to see where things happen. I can drop Skull Crusher speed to 171, and you'll see we get these double turns. All of a sudden now everything's kind of out of whack. We'd have to then go back and adjust and find again, where is it that we want to use these skills to find something regular? There it is. We found a regular tune right here where Skull Crusher is now going last in the comp even after the double turns. Is this the team that I want to use? Maybe, maybe not. Really depends on the champions you bring to the fight. So that's it. That's the team. I thought that was really successful. I thought that was kind of fun and interesting to see. And hopefully this is helpful for you guys trying to maximize the skills and abilities that your champions bring to the table. So definitely don't sleep on these 4-3 ratio teams, especially as you're coming up. If you're still struggling on Nightmare, if you're struggling at early levels Ultra Nightmare, trying to get, you're at 4-key, 3-key, these are the types of teams, these are the types of manipulations to help optimize your team and really up your damage and get to that next level. A 4-3 ratio team 100% has the potential of doing 2-key on Ultra Nightmare, right? So it all depends on the champions you bring and the gear that you can put out. Now, obviously, I built my team with some of the best gear that I have on my account. Absolutely. But I didn't use any legendaries. It's not my best champions that I have on my account. There's a lot of room to improve it. I guarantee most of you out there have better champions available than even the ones that I'm showing here. Maybe not these specific champions, but it doesn't matter about 1 or 2 champions. It's about the totality of all 5. That's the key, finding the synergy between all 5 champions. That's how you really maximize your damage in these types of builds. So anyway, hopefully this was helpful for you guys. Thanks so much for sticking around. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell. Until next we meet, I'm the Deadwood Jedi.